We've had a lot of individuals. We understand the immigration journey is extremely stressful and long, and we've had individuals asking, can I transfer my case to another embassy or consulate? Would it make it faster? And I completely understand always looking for a way to find a shortcut or to make things move more smoothly and just looking for a creative solution. And so it's really great that people are asking this question. And I really want to provide all of you with clarity about the reality of transferring a case to another U.S. embassy or consulate. So transferring a spouse visa case or a fiance visa case to another embassy or consulate is something that we actually do pretty frequently here in our office. It really just depends, though. I know that that's a famous attorney response to say it depends, but it really does. There's a lot of factors to take into consideration regarding whether or not it makes sense to transfer your case to another U.S. embassy or consulate. So I kind of see that there's really three main times that an individual might have more than one embassy or consulate available to them, where it would make sense that you would transfer your case to a different embassy or consulate where it is faster. So the first scenario would be that maybe that you are an individual where you are a citizen of one country, but you happen to be legally residing in another. So I'm just going to give this as an example. Maybe you're a citizen of Australia, but you're currently actually living and working and have lawful permanent resident status or a work visa in Canada. And so since you're actually living in Canada, you could actually have your interview in Canada. And so what will happen is when you file your application, what we do with clients that have multiple embassies available to them, because maybe they're a citizen of multiple countries, or like in the example I just gave, they have residency or a work permit in another country, we work with them to decide what is the location that's going to be best for you, what's going to be easiest. I mean, if you're already living and working in Canada, we can ask for the interview there, so you're not having to make a trip back to Australia. And right now, with everything that's going on with COVID, the U.S. embassies in Australia are basically very, very slow and kind of at a standstill. Really, just the processing times are extremely slow because of COVID and the lockdowns. And so Canada would be a better option. So we would ask for that embassy on the application. Or maybe you recently started working or have residency in Canada, and then you could transfer the case. So that's one scenario where it would make sense that maybe you would want to transfer the case to that embassy instead. And that is, of course, just an example. And so there's a lot of factors to take into consideration about whether or not it makes sense. Because if you're transferring your case, first of all, you have to have lawful status in the country where you want to transfer your case. So in the example I gave, you would have citizenship in one country and a work permit or lawful permanent resident status in another. So you could pick between those two countries, which one would be the best option. You might also be a citizen of multiple countries. We have many clients who are citizens of 2, 3, or maybe 4 countries. And so we would just pick which country would be the best. And sometimes that changes when we get closer to the interview phase, and then we can transfer the case. And then another scenario where you're able to transfer your case is in situations where there isn't a U.S. embassy or consulate where you are consular processing for your spouse visa or fiance visa. The one that's top of mind right now for me is Russia. So the U.S. embassy and consulate there, they are no longer doing interviews. So Poland has been taking those cases. And so Russia is just one example, but there are other countries where there isn't a U.S. embassy or consulate. And so you can transfer your case to another U.S. embassy or consulate in another country. So those are really 3 scenarios. Either you have citizenship and lawful permanent resident status in 2 different countries, you're a citizen of multiple countries, or you live in a country where there isn't a U.S. embassy or consulate, that you could transfer your case to another U.S. embassy or consulate. And whether or not you should do that, as I mentioned, it really is just going to depend. And we really just work with clients to decide, one, what is the place that would be easiest for you? Maybe you have citizenship in multiple countries, but it would be too difficult for you with work or obligations for you to actually go to that country. And the other consideration, where I say it depends, is moving your case to another US embassy or consulate. You could be trading one long line for another long line. So it's really important that we pay attention. That's what we do with our clients. We pay attention to kind of what are the average wait times, what's happening at the other US embassy or consulate before we transfer the case. And so I have a video where I explain how you can kind of get a general idea, and I can put that in the link or in the notes, the show notes below. If you're watching this on YouTube or on the Facebook channel, I'll put it in the comments below. But I can link to that video so you can see how we generally gauge that. That's one tool we use, but also we help many couples, and so we're able to kind of see how cases are processing, which embassies are really doing interviews, and how quickly those interviews are being scheduled. So those are all factors we take into consideration before we move a case. So what you really need to know is, if you're wanting to transfer your case, you can only do that if you have lawful status, or if you're a citizen of that other country, or if your embassy, your US embassy or consulate in your country is non-existent, then you'd be able to transfer your case. And before you transfer your case, you'll want to make sure, as I mentioned, that you're not trading one long line for another. So I'll post that link to that other video so you can kind of get a gauge. That's not, it's not completely the safest way to know, but it gives you a general idea if you check those wait times using that table in the video that I'll be posting below. All right, so hopefully that was helpful. Transferring cases it's definitely an option, but it is complicated, and there's a lot of factors to take into consideration. And if you are needing assistance with your case and wondering if transferring your case is a good idea, please feel free to visit immigrationforcouples.com. You can schedule your appointment there, and we also have a lot of other free resources that you can check out to help you in your immigration journey.